Alright, in this video I'm showing you how to check your answer to this. So I'm going to give you what the answer should look like, and then you can check your work to see how similar it was. Hopefully you remembered to come back up here and that you insert your work. So after you did all these three things here, that you took a picture of it and you pasted it in here, you inserted it there. If you need help inserting it, just send me a message on Google Hangouts and I'll send you a video. Alright, so let's go back to this. So the first thing I want to do is draw a representation, then show my work, and then write an answer. Alright, so let's go back here. Hector needs to cut fabric to cover a circular window. So right away, that word cover, I'm thinking, am I doing circumference or area? Since it's cover, I'm thinking area, but we'll keep reading. Covering a circular window's room, the diameter of the window is 7. How much fabric will it take to cover? If I want to cover it, then it's kind of like I'm picturing all those squares covering the circle again. So basically this is an area problem, that's how I know. Alright, so now I need to represent the shape. So here's my circle. I'll put it off to the side here because I think it's going to get a lot of work. What do I know about the circle? If it's area, all I want to know is the radius. That's what I should be thinking. Area, give me the radius. I come back up here, it does not give me the radius, it gives me the diameter. So I'm going to represent that with a line. Or maybe I'm not, maybe I'm doing something wrong here. So I click here, got my line, that's my diameter. So my diameter is going to be 7 feet. But I don't really want to use that 7 feet. So here's going to be the problem I'm going to work out. I'm going to use the radius, which is half of that. Oops. Which is half of that, which is 3.5 feet. So I'm only going to focus on half of it. So there's my representation of the problem. Now, first step I know to get area, to cover that whole window with all the squares, I need to make a radius square. So I'm going to come here, bear with me, I'm going to try to draw with the mouse. I'm going to come up to this other radius, which is also 3.5 feet. So I'll put my 3.5 there too. Then I make my radius square. Hopefully yours is a little better. Should have came up a little more like that. Sorry guys, give me a second. It might be a little better. Alright, so 3.5, so it's 3.5 squares across, 3.5 squares high, so I can get the total by multiplying. I'm just going to have to do the radius times radius. Radius times radius. So in this case, I'm going to do 3.5 times 3.5. If you're not good with decimals, let's see if we can figure this out together. So 3.5 times 3.5. Alright, so for me, when it comes to multiplying decimals, you do whatever you have to do. First thing I do is estimate, so I just use the whole number. So 3 times 3 is around 9-ish. So it's going to have to, I'll put this over here, it should be more than 9. Just in case I don't know where to put the decimal, I'm going to try to make it as close to 9 as possible. Alright, so what I do though, is I change these numbers so I don't have to worry about the decimals anymore. So I'm going to take this 3.5 and move the decimal, that becomes a 35. And this one, move the decimal, now it's a 35. I know how to do 35 times 35. It's okay to do this as long as at the end you kind of move everything back, and that's what I'm going to show you. So 5 times 5 is 25. Here's the 5. There's the 2. 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17. Now I'm done with that number. I'm not going to use that anymore. I'm going to cross that out. So now I'm going to put my 0 as my placeholder. So 3 times 5 is 15, so the 5 goes right underneath that 3. Carry my 1. 3 times 3 is 9. And then plus 1 is 10, so there we go, 10. Now I add everything up, 5, 7 plus 5 is 12, add my 1, so now I'm at 2, 1. So I might not know where my decimals go, but I do know my estimate because the whole number was 9. I know the decimal can't go here because that's 122, and it won't go here because it is 1.2, so the closest one I can do to 9 is right there. But the other way I know it is if I move the decimal one time here and one time here, that's for a total of 2 times. When I'm done, I just move it backwards. 1 time, 2 times. So that's how I know my answer for 3.5 times 3.5 is 12.25. Some of you might be like, wow, that's a lot of work. I should be done now. This does not represent the answer. You got to think about what does this actually represent. So the 12.25 came from 3.5 times 3.5, so that means this was just the area of the radius square. So radius times radius gave us the area of the radius square. So this number right here was, I guess I can put text, right? So I don't have to worry about that. 12.25. Right? Because I did 3.5 times 3.5, I got 12.25. So now I got to come over here. That just covers one quadrant. I need, and you should be thinking, how many radius squares? There's 2. There's 3. And we should know that we only need 3. So that would be 12.25 for the area there, 12.25 for the area there. I know I'm doing this a long way. Some of you know you can just take a shortcut right now. So I can do all that, but it's not just 3 of them, it's 3.14. So now we're going to do a tricky one. So we're going to take the area of the radius square and multiply it by how many we need, which is pi. So times pi, 3.14. Now this is where it's going to get tricky because there's decimals everywhere. But remember, shortcut. Multiply it, pretend like the decimals are not there, multiply it, but estimate first. So I know the whole number, 12 times 3 is 36. So I know my answer is going to be somewhere around 36 when I'm done. I'm going to have numbers everywhere. So I'm going to move the decimal to where it's closest to 36. All right, so first step is I'm going to move these decimals, change these numbers. I'm going to change this number to 314. I don't want to deal with the decimal, so I moved it twice. This is going to become 1,225. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's fine. Just multiply the numbers. So 5 times 4 is 20. Try to stay lined up here. We're going to have numbers everywhere. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. I'm done with that number. Done with these numbers. I don't want to get mixed up. You should use an eraser. All right, so now I'm off to the 1, so I put my 0 to hold in place. 1 times 5 is 5, lined up right underneath there. Then 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is another 2. 1 times 1 is 1. So I'm done with that one too. So then I have my 2 zeros because I'm going to start right underneath this number. 3 times 5 is 15. That's a 5, sorry guys. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 1 is 3. Now I got all these numbers that add up. So all these are zeros, that's a 5. 9 times plus 2 is 11, plus 5 is 6. 16. Let me make sure I do that right. 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 5 is 16. Carry my 1. 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 7, 14. Carry my 1. 1, 2, plus 6 is 8. And a 3. So, now I'm thinking to myself, where does the decimal go? I remember from back here, though, 12 times 3 was 36. So the only place that reasonably makes sense is right there. There's my decimal. If I put it here, that's 384. Also, I moved the decimal in the beginning 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So at the end, I just start here and move it back 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So now I go back and check, did I do everything I'm supposed to? Write your answer on the paper and circle it. That's what I didn't do. Hopefully you didn't forget to do that. So I come here and there is my answer. But I need to put my units, so it's going to be square feet, because we're doing area, square, and then feet. And that's the answer. Please, guys, do the math. Don't use the calculator. I know you're at home. But when we do take the STAR test, you're not going to be able to use the calculator. So please do the math this way. You can check it with the calculator, but get used to doing this math, all right? If you need anything, let me know.